American George Preddy Jr. 1919–44. World War II top P-51 Mustang ace.
To those who flew her, she was the finest gun platform ever built. To those who engaged her, she was the most formidable opponent ever met. Ever wonder who was her most proficient and masterful technician? Well, this is our story of Major George E. Preddy Jr., the highest-scoring P-51 Mustang ace of World War II.
George Earl Preddy Jr., 1919–44, World War II USA Air Force fighter pilot. 26+ aerial victories. Military decorations. USA Air Force Pilot Badge. Distinguished Service Cross. Silver Star. Distinguished Flying Cross. Purple Heart. Air Medal. American Defense Service Medal. American Campaign Medal. Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal. European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal. World War II Victory Medal. Croix de Guerre, Belgium. Army Presidential Unit Citation. The book left-hand side was a key resource for this video. While in high school, Preddy fell in love with aviation. After high school, he took his first airplane ride and decided then that he wanted to be a pilot. In early 1939, he learned to fly at a small dirt strip just south of his hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina, USA. He and his instructor then bought a half-share each in a Waco 10 biplane aircraft. They then entered the barnstorming business. Waco 10 aircraft over Greensboro, North Carolina, USA. KABY. Southwest Georgia Regional Airport, Georgia, USA. Default scenery only. Although a civil airport, USA Air Force, initial flying training was undertaken here by a civilian organization, Da Aerotech. Stearman, PT-17 aircraft. While in the North Carolina National Guard, the U.S. Navy rejected Preddy 3 times for physical and medical reasons. But he gained entry to the U.S. Air Force in 1941. He completed basic flying training here, mainly in Stearman PT-17s, before going on to larger Vultee BT-15s. KSEM. Craig Field Airport, Alabama, USA. Default scenery only. Formerly a U.S. Air Force base. Established 1940. Now a civil airport. North American AT-6 aircraft. Here, Preddy underwent advanced flying training, mainly in North American AT-6 aircraft. He was awarded his pilot wings here in December 1941, just 5 days after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. In January 1942, Preddy set sail with 4,000 other U.S. Air Force personnel and a load of P-40 aircraft, destination unknown. In February, they arrived in Melbourne, Australia, then trained to Sydney and Brisbane. From there, Preddy and 24 other P-40s, led by a single B-17, set off across the desert for the long, grueling flight to remote Darwin to help defend it from Japanese air attacks. Only half made it, the other half breaking down or crashing along the way. Preddy arrived in Darwin on the 17th of March, 1942, a month after the Japanese started bombing Darwin. He was initially posted to Bachelor Field, 60 miles inland from Darwin, where the Americans had a large tent city in difficult terrain and conditions. For a while, he was at RAF Darwin, alongside the town, where there was ample comfortable accommodation, as most civilians had evacuated south because of the bombings. YBCR Bachelor Airport, Northern Territory, Australia. Freeware scenery. Former major World War II airfield. Now a small civil airport. Curtiss P-40 Warhawk Kitty Hawk fighter aircraft. There's not much left of the World War II airfield, but, besides the main runway, many roads and aircraft parking areas can still be seen from the air. Built during World War II, initially for the defence of Darwin, Bachelor Airfield grew to accommodate many Australian, American, and Royal Netherlands East Indies Air Force units, flying bombing and escort missions against Japanese positions in the Dutch East Indies, Papua New Guinea, and elsewhere in the Southwest Pacific. 1 ppm. Darwin International, Northern Territory, Australia. Freeware scenery. Established 1940 as RAF Darwin. Now a joint civil and military airport. After Bachelor Airfield, 60 miles south of Darwin, Preddy was posted here for a while. Preddy was stationed in and around Darwin from March to July 1942. In that time, he saw plenty of action, and there were plenty of aerial victories, but by others. By the end of that time, he was disappointed that, although he damaged 2 Japanese aircraft, he had no actual victories. In July he was involved in a mid-air collision during a practice flight. He parachuted to safety, but was badly injured. The other pilot tragically died. He was sent south for several months' recovery, before flying back to the USA in October 1942. After RAF Darwin, Preddy was posted to one of the 2 roadside airstrips running right alongside the main road into Darwin, Strauss and Livingston airfields, located between Darwin and Bachelor. I was fortunate to be able to visit many of the World War II airstrips around Darwin a couple of years ago. There are many historical markers, like the one at left-hand side, and it was a very moving experience. After several months of more training on different aircraft in the USA, Preddy was shipped to a US Air Force airfield in the UK, former RAF Bodney, Norfolk, in July 1942. Here, he flew in support of American daytime bombers, initially flying Republic P-47 Thunderbolts. By the time he got his longer-range North American P-51 Mustang, in April 1944, he had 3 victories under his belt. Former World War II British American Air Forces Bodney, Norfolk, UK. Coming up directly ahead. Closed 1945. Now farmland. Nothing remains of the original airfield. Note, not the actual livery for Preddy's P-51 Mustang. Former World War II, Bodney Airfield, Norfolk, UK. Closed 1945. Now farmland. Preddy's first victory, a Messerschmitt Bf 109, was on the 1st of December, 1943, over Germany. His second, a Messerschmitt Me 210, on the 22nd of December, 1943, over the Netherlands, was particularly heroic. He led his flight in breaking up an attack by Me 210s against a straggling B-24 Liberator, and managed to shoot down one of them and lure the remaining one away from the B-24, for which he received the Silver Star. On the 29th of January, 1944, after winning the Silver Star and before becoming an ace, Preddy's group was escorting a formation of 800 returning bombers. Over the French coast, Preddy shot down an FW-190, but was himself hit by enemy flak. He flew his P-47 over the English Channel and then bailed out. Preddy's wingman kept radioing his coordinates until SE Rescue triangulated the position. A Royal Air Force flying boat rescued Preddy, but the aircraft had to be towed to the coast by the Royal Navy as one of its pontoons broke in the rough sea. World War II, British-American Bodney Airfield, superimposed over current Google Earth. Preddy became a fighter ace on the 13th of May, 1944, when he shot down 2 Bf 109s over Germany in his newly acquired P-51 Mustang, bringing his total victories to 5, the definition of an ace. By the end of May 1944, Preddy had completed the normal operational tour of 200 hours, plus 2 extensions of 50 hours each. He could have gone home, but he requested, and was granted, a third extension.
As the 352nd transitioned over to the P-51 Mustang, Preddy named this one Cripe Somebody also. And within 2 weeks, he had his 4th and 5th victories, gaining for him the designation of ace. Preddy quickly adapted to the greater maneuverability and quickness of the Mustang. By the end of May, his P-51 would be carrying 10.83 victories. 30 April, Clermont-Ferrand, France. 30 May, Magdeburg, Germany.
The 18th of July, 1944 was a particularly successful day for Preddy. He downed 3 enemy aircraft, a Bf 109 and 2 Junkers 88s, bringing his total score to 14. He had been very busy supporting the D-Day Normandy invasion, which commenced on the 6th of June, 1944. In early July, he had requested a 5th extension to his tour, this time for 100 hours instead of the normal 50. His 100 was rejected, but 50 was approved.
Just prior to D-Day, Preddy would receive his most famous Mustang, Cripe Somebody III. It was the latest version with the new high-visibility bubble canopy. In it, he would rack up 17 additional victories by the first week in August.
Preddy's biggest day came on the 6th of August, 1944. He led his squadron on a bomber escort mission over Hamburg, Germany. As they reached the target, the bombers were attacked by a formation of Bf 109s. Preddy led an attack against the Bf 109s from astern. During the ensuing dogfight, he downed 6 of them.
On August 6, 1944, George Preddy's moment in history would occur, for he would be at the right place, at the right moment, and with the right training with which to guarantee his place in history. He would that day establish a European theater of operations record by destroying 6 aircraft in a single mission. I opened fire on one at the rear of formation from 300 yards and got hits. Score 1. Lieutenant Heyer and I drove up behind another, and I got hits in the wing roots, blazing him. He bailed out. Score 2. Heyer got one to my right. I fired on another at close range, causing him to smoke and then fall apart. Score 3. I hit another with a short burst and he blazed. Score 4. I got good bursts into another, causing him to burn and spin down. Score 5. We were now at 5,000 feet, and I was alone. I went after a single 109 before he could jump me. My initial burst was ineffective. He almost nailed me, but I outclimbed him. He stalled and fell off to the left. I dropped down astern of him. He jettisoned his canopy as I fired a short burst, getting many hits. As I pulled past, he bailed out. Score 6. I lost contact with all friendly and enemy aircraft, so headed home alone. It had all happened in less than 5 minutes.
Preddy's 6 victories in one day on the 6th of August, 1944, made him one of the few American pilots to become an ace in a day. For his actions in the mission, Preddy received the Distinguished Service Cross. His total score now was 23. With that score and the medals, Preddy was becoming famous. He was even sent back to the USA for a 30-day stateside tour. On the 28th of October, 1944, he returned to the fight from Bodney Airfield in the UK at his own request because he could have stayed home. World War II Battle of the Bulge. On the 23rd of December, 1944, Preddy's fighter group was redeployed from the UK to Esch Airfield in Belgium to support the fight against Hitler's last, major, but unsuccessful, counteroffensive, the Battle of the Bulge. This move was to spell disaster for Preddy 2 days later, Christmas Day 1944. EBSL. Zudendal Reserve Air Base, Belgium. Something wrong with MSFS scenery here. Established in World War I, 1917. Redeveloped by the USA in World War II, 1944, as a airfield, or landing ground Y-29. Now a Belgium Air Force Reserve Airport. After being posted to the Belgium airfield, Preddy achieved another victory on the 24th of December. But then on the 25th, after another 2 victories, Preddy himself was downed by friendly fire. As he pursued a FW-190 below the overcast, he passed over the Allied front line at treetop height. A U.S. Army anti-aircraft battery fired at the FW-190 but missed, and instead hit Preddy's P-51. He released his canopy, but was unable to bail out before hitting the ground at high speed. The crash was potentially survivable, but his wounds from machine gun fire were mortal. Preddy had achieved 26+ aerial victories, making him the World War II top P-51 Mustang ace. If aircraft on the ground were also included, his total enemy aircraft destroyed would be 30+. He was 8th on the list of approximately 1,300 World War II American fighter pilot aces. Had he survived the war, he may well have beaten the top aces record of 40. To add to the tragedy, Preddy's younger brother, William, also a P-51 pilot, later died in what is today's Czech Republic on the 17th of April, 1945, from wounds he sustained when he was shot down by enemy anti-aircraft fire. The 2 brothers are buried alongside each other at the Lorraine American Cemetery, Saint-Avold, France. The top 8 of the 1,300 World War II American fighter pilot aces. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked learning or relearning about George Preddy Jr.